Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Rain Whaling.
And I'm the third Menendez brother.
Oh my god! Jesus Christ! Oh fuck! Oh my god!
The one they didn't catch.
The one that was locked in the basement.
That's right.
The one whose fingerprints they put all over the weapon. Ligor, the night janitor I could just put fingerprints all over my computer, is gonna need a good lord. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Oh. Jesus Christ. Holy shit.
I couldn't come up with the name, so that was the best I
Well,
could.
you know what? I mean, somehow that's less offensive with not actually coming up with a name. Could you imagine you came up with it? I don't think it would have landed the same way had you come up with an actual name.
No.
Good God.
Probably not.
Welcome back, everyone. We're cold boys right now.
Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah. Even though I hate it sometimes because, being in West Texas feels like, I mean, granted, people up north probably deal with this all the time.
Of course.
But like the wind here just cuts you to the bone.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't, I like how it looks outside when it gets like this. I'm like, oh, nice. Very gloomy. But then you go outside and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm going back inside now.
Yeah, it's cold, man. And it's our first cold day of the year,
Yeah. Tail end of October.
Which is kind of exciting, I'm checking the weather to see.
Tomorrow's supposed to be
back to 90 degrees. Oh, no, 63. That's
I was
not.
going to say tomorrow's supposed to be kind of like today, but of course, relative to this recording, it's
Right.
Well, no. When this comes out, it'll be tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little chilly today.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love the cold. I wasn't expecting it this early.
Yeah.
It won't be like this, but for 2 days. And
for
then
sure.
it'll go back to being 70 something.
Yeah, but
80.
then it hits November and it's just cold all the time.
You think so? You think it's gonna be November? I think
For sure.
I feel like this is so riveting. I'm sure to listen to.
Oh,
I think
people love it when we talk about weather.
I think last year it was almost December before it got cold.
Yeah. I mean, we had those few fluctuations last year, but yeah, I didn't.
It takes forever for it to get cold.
Yeah.
Here.
But see, I got to bust out my Logic jacket.
Yeah, you
today,
did.
Which I've been, this jacket is so thick already, so I don't really wear it all the time anyway.
Now here's something fun. You're calling it a jacket. That is something that I would not be calling it. I would call it a hoodie or a sweatshirt.
I call all my hoodies jackets.
You call them jackets. That's interesting.
Yeah. Now my pea coat, that I refer to as a coat. Like, babe,
coat?
Can you get my coat?
I think coat is regional. I don't know if, because I think I would say jacket. I would still call that a jacket. I wouldn't call it a coat. I think again, coat is, if you say coat, that means you're from a certain place in the United States.
Well, but then again, I have an actual pea coat.
Well, yeah.
So I have to call it.
I'm not disputing that you own a pea coat. I think you do.
Hang on, let me get it right now.
No, listen. I have an overcoat as well, and I don't call it that. I call it a jacket. I need to get my big jacket. I think that's what I call it, my big jacket.
I think Ashley says the same thing, if I'm being honest.
Gotta get my big jacket.
Because she has one too.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Hey, there's some good jackets in this one.
Yeah.
Some good coats in this one because it was. Yeah. That's a good segue.
Yeah, that's a good segue. Yeah, welcome back, everyone. Jesus Christ. So, if you missed last week, today we are talking about Rififi, which is a movie that you love, that you've told me repeatedly.
Yeah.
I need to watch it. So, what better time than now?
Yeah, and
oh, dude, it was awesome.
yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Now, I am glad that I did pick this one right after Pickpocket because we see two different versions of sort of the same, even though I know last week we kind of talked about Pickpocket not really being a crime drama, but we do see two different sides of crime drama.
Yeah.
French crime drama, where Pickpocket is a little bit more slow paced and more focusing on the act itself. This is more kind of how when we've talked about Scorsese and gangster films and high stakes and and Jesus Christ, I was not expecting it to go that way at all.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
I know.
And I loved it. It was so good, man.
Yeah.
Of course, as we talked about in our heist episode, which thankfully Future Rain remembered to put that in the middle of the episode.
Nice.
Heist movies are fun, dude.
Heist movies are so fun.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
I watched George Clooney and Julia Roberts on Kimmel recently, promoting their new movie.
Yeah, they got a new movie.
And I was like, I really want to watch the Ocean's trilogy now. And they're all on Netflix as of this recording. They're on Netflix.
Ooh.
And I might need to rewatch them
I
all.
love the Ocean's movies. And we talked about it, I'm sure, on the Heist episode.
For
That
sure.
was years ago, but I love heist films. It's all about, the preparation, right?
Yeah, especially I loved how we are shown this. And of course we'll get into it, everyone, but I loved seeing how they were figuring out, if we do this happens. So how do we get around this?
Right.
That I was like, oh, that's
I know.
so cool.
And it's so cool. And it kind of has to be lacking dialogue because Caesar doesn't speak French, right?
Yes.
And so he's sort of the reason why they're not speaking a whole bunch when he's there. It's sort of a lot of pantomime, a lot of, that's not going to work. It's a lot of hand motions too, which is sort of fun, which is what pantomiming is. It's the same thing.
Just saying on top of what
That's
it already.
the same thing twice. I like that sort of added detail. It's not meant. That's not necessarily on purpose, right? It's not like they're like, listen, Americans are going to watch this. They don't want to read a whole bunch of dialogue. Let's just, whatever. That's not. I don't think that was the purpose, but it was to my benefit for sure.
I can't. I don't know how to pronounce the director's name, but he's like, look, I've been blacklisted by Hollywood, so we're going to make sure Americans can understand this. But anyway, so first impressions, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was great. I was not expecting not necessarily twist of the movie, but how it goes from just a simple heist film to a 10 where people are, rushing around trying to get answers.
And dying.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, a lot of dying.
For a film in 1955.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, a lot of dying.
Everyone dies. Except for Caesar.
Yeah.
Or at least we think he doesn't die. He is just left there. Tony just leaves him there.
Tony shoots him.
He does?
Tony shoots Caesar. Yeah. They're backing up. The camera's the camera is
because
is backing up, and then boom, 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 he shoots him because he ratted on Mario.
Okay, so everyone does.
Everyone does.
Anyway, so Jeremy, would you like to give everyone that brief synopsis real quick?
Sure. Tony is recently out of jail.
Yes.
Prison, right? And he's struggling, right? Mm-hmm. A friend of his, Joe.
And I'd like to add, I'm so glad all the names of our main characters are much easier to pronounce this time around.
Yes, I agree.
Anyway, so Joe.
Joe tries to get him involved in a new job, right?
Yeah.
He's fresh out. He's like, oh, man, I'm done.
You can't be pulling me back in.
Can't be pulling me back in.
Not like Michael Corleone. Can't be pulling me back in.
He also has a tumultuous relationship with this woman that
shit.
that may have had something to do with him going to prison.
It's almost
I couldn't tell.
It's
right?
almost kind of implied that it's,
and she is hooking up with an enemy of Tony's, right?
Pierre?
Sure.
I just know they called them the Grunters.
Grunters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he beats her a little bit, whatever. It's the 1950s. So it's still wrong, but it's wrong. It's wrong. And once he realizes that, let's fucking do this, right?
Yeah, let's go.
But instead of what you want to do, which is break in the display window, let's get the stuff in the safe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Tony, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, Tony don't want to mess around. He goes, listen, man, if we're going to do this, let's do it all the way. Yeah. Let's do this to where I don't have to do this anymore. Right? Yeah. It's the cliched, one more and I'm out. Right?
Yeah.
Which is a classic.
In heist film. In all kind of
In a
criminal.
lot of crime, a lot of crime films.
You know,
One more and I'm out.
Doesn't Ben Affleck say that in The Town? One more and I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't like the guy on this one. He tucks his fucking shit in his combat boots. He thinks he's fucking special forces. Listen, you gotta see The Town. Okay? Anyway. So, Joe introduces him to Mario.
Yes.
Mario brings in Caesar, and together they are going to rob the jewelry store, but they're going to go after the safe, right?
Yeah.
However, in doing some recon, they realize that their security system is top notch.
Yeah.
Okay?
For 1955.
If you cut it, it rings. If you unplug it, it rings. If you make a sound, it rings, right? Mm-hmm. On every door, on every window, there's a sensor, right? So they have to find a way to make it not ring, right? They have to find a way to... They can be quiet for only for so long, right?
Right.
So through some trial and error, they realize they can muffle the sound with a fire extinguisher, but they have to get in first, right? Mm-hmm. And the amount of preparation that goes into that is timing vendors, timing police, knowing exactly when places open, knowing exactly when they close, knowing who is around at every point of the day, right? Mm-hmm. And they have it all written down, which is amazing.
Yeah.
The heist itself takes about 34 minutes of the film's runtime, and we'll get into that in detail. They get away with it, or so it seems. Caesar gets a little greedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is ultimately their downfall. Mm-hmm. Caesar is the reason they get found out, right? Because he steals a ring, he gives it to the lovely showgirl.
Vivian or something.
And Pierre recognizes it as one of his because the stuff that they stole is Pierre's. Right? Yeah. It's about, what was it, 200-something million?
240 million.
Francs or something.
Francs,
whatever the currency is. In France, I don't know.
I think it's francs.
Is it francs? So now Pierre knows exactly who to go after because once he found out who gave her that ring, he can link it to Mario, who he can link to Joe, who he can link to Tony, right?
Yeah.
All found out very, very quick.
Yeah.
It didn't take much.
Yeah.
Right?
Not inept bad guys.
No.
They knew almost instantly.
And so then it becomes a film of cat and mouse, right?
Yeah.
Now we're trying to find these guys and get information so we can get the jewels back, right? Mm-hmm. One by one, he finds each guy, much like Andy Garcia's character in Ocean's 12. You haven't seen Ocean's 12, have you?
I've seen all of them. Ocean's 12 is the one I remember the least.
Okay, in the beginning, he tracks each one of them down and shakes them down for the money they owe, right? For their share.
From the first movie?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway, so in doing so, they kill Mario, they capture Caesar, they kidnap Joe's son.
Whose name is also Tony? Or Tony?
I didn't catch his name. But
they say it, but it's almost like on the subtitles, it's almost like it says Tony also.
Weird. Well, he named his kid after Tony. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Because they're very close. And so in all of this, Tony tries to track down Pierre so he can follow his movements. He finds Caesar, realizes Caesar ratted out Mario, so he kills Caesar. Now he's trying to find the kid, right? Mm-hmm. So he finds where the kid is, takes the kid, kills the guard who is the sister of Mardo. That's her name.
Well, he also kills Pierre's
right,
heroin addicted brother. Yeah.
No, that's what I meant. Yeah. I thought he was the brother of the woman. No? It's Pierre's brother?
I think it's Pierre's brother.
Whatever.
Remy.
So, kills him, takes the kid back. Joe doesn't know he's done that, so Joe takes the money to Pierre to exchange for the kid, obviously, right? You?
Oh, yeah.
And in doing so, Pierre meets him at the rendezvous place where the kid is supposed to be. I know this is all it's a lot. And then Tony realizes what Joe's about to do, so he goes to stop Joe from giving him the money because he has the kid, blah, blah, blah. Joe dies. Pierre dies.
Tony is
shot.
Wounded.
And is trying to drive the kid back to his mother while in tow with the money. He finally gets in front of the building. He dies. Cops swarm the car, get the briefcase, which you would assume they'll open, realize it's full of money, and
then like, oh, that's
suspicious, right?
Yeah.
Movie's over.
Yeah. They throw a lot of information.
It's a lot at the very end, right?
Yeah.
After the heist, it's sort of go.
Yeah, it's balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was Rififi.
So, things I love about this film. Okay. I love just obviously the crime aspect of it. I like the,
because if anything Jeremy has shown on the show, crime is cool.
Crime is until it's not.
Yeah, until it's not.
But crime is very cool. So, Tony comes back into the fold. Trying to get back on his feet in terms of being out, right?
Yeah, and how they introduce us to him is so cool because you can tell he's already trying to go straight. Mm-hmm. He's trying to be straight, but it's not really working out. No. Like when he's playing cards, and they're like, "No, we only use money, not promises."
Right.
And he's just like,
"Fuck."
Let him just play cards.
Yeah, he doesn't want to play cards.
Yeah.
And Joe is sort of excited to have Tony back because he likes this, right? He likes crime. You could tell, right?
Yeah. Joe for sure lives for this.
Yeah. He doesn't want this boring, mundane life, right?
No.
He loves his family, but he enjoys the crime, right?
Yeah.
And so the sort of the brotherhood of crime I like. I gravitate towards the sort of camaraderie of the crime, right? The crime syndicates or the brotherhood of it, right?
Right.
So I like that. I love the the assembly, whatever, of the crew, right? That's always so much fun in terms of heist films specifically.
Yeah.
Right? They need a crew. And so getting all of those people and, where they come from and different skill sets and blah, blah, blah. That stuff is so much fun to me. And of course, the main thing is prep, the procedure, and just making it a fine-tuned machine.
Yeah.
So they can execute the heist, right? And of course, the heist is the best part. But
yeah,
for me, the preparation is half of what makes it so great.
Oh yeah, and I'm pretty sure you mentioned it specifically, if I'm remembering correctly, in our original heist episode. The reason why most heist films spell it out for the audience is so when we know if something goes wrong,
right?
This is
right.
You
know how it's supposed to go. So when something does go wrong, you're just as
shocked
and on edge as they are.
Yeah.
Right.
But truth be told, they're prepping. Nothing goes wrong.
No, not necessarily. I think that there's a couple of
hiccups.
Yeah, just in terms of sound, right? Every sound is amplified in the heist, right? Like he hits one of the keys on the piano.
And they're like,
right. Let's get into the heist since we're already there. Okay. So the heist again is a big chunk in this movie. It's 34 minutes long, and from start to finish.
Like from prep to completion of the job?
No, I think once they
start.
Yes, once they get in the car to go to that apartment or whatever above the jewelry store. Yeah, that's when it starts.
Damn.
I think
I meant to
time it.
I wanted to time it. I was thinking like I should be timing this.
And what's so interesting is that it really does tell you exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it. They're not leaving anything out, really.
Yeah.
Right? I think they're like, well, you would need the tools, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if you don't have the tools, you can't do it. So let's just show them, right? Yeah. I love the idea of sort of not always being prepared, right? Meaning once they realized, if we keep hitting this root or hitting the floor, when there's a hole in it, it's going to keep falling down into the building.
Yeah.
So he grabs his umbrella. Dude, that was genius, right?
The umbrella, I was like, oh my God. And then, I'm assuming once it got to a certain weight, they'd pull it back up so they can get all of it out.
Yep.
And then, okay.
And then they lift it back up. They get it all of it out. Right, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely genius.
Oh, 100%.
And of course, when he shows, he gets the rod and he gets his umbrella and he spins it and he goes, look, we can put it down there, open it, and we can get the debris that way. I mean, it's just, again, all without dialogue, no music.
Yeah.
Right? No music, of course, because you want to be in that space with them, right? Mm-hmm. You want to feel everything they feel. You want to hear everything they hear, right? Yeah. Which is the most important part. Even down to the shoes they're wearing. One of them is wearing ballet shoes, by the way.
Yeah, I noticed that I thought I was like, oh, they're like wearing because I saw it on Caesar. That I was like, I thought they were wearing like little booties or something to keep from making sound.
So they are wearing dress shoes when they go in, and once they're in the apartment, they change their shoes.
Yeah.
So that way, when they leave, they can put on their other shoes back on, and they don't look suspicious. Right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Again, it's genius. Also, the amount of dedication, meaning they're there for 6 hours doing this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
From start to finish, it's 6 hours. Okay? Imagine doing something for 6 hours like that. Right?
Not to get too nerdy, but I've always tried to do something like that, like playing a video game.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm gonna grind for hours. I'm gonna commit. I'm not gonna stop until I get like these quests done. And then like 30 minutes in, I'm like,
oh shit,
I need a break.
Right? And it's sort of like they don't get a break, right?
No, they it definitely seems like Joe at one point has to sit down, but it's almost not until like they're done.
Yeah. Because what this movie shows you is that heists are hard.
Yeah.
Right? There's a movie called Angst. It's German for fear. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that correctly. It's a serial killer movie. This guy breaks into these people's houses, murders them, and whatever. But what that movie shows is that murdering people is hard. Okay? Because they show him moving the bodies, and they're heavy, and he keeps dropping it, and he keeps like tripping over it, and he's having to put a lot of effort into it, right? And even in the killings themselves, it's a lot of effort, right?
Yeah.
Same with this. They are putting in so much effort. They are having to be patient. They are having to be diligent and precise.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the beauty of a heist film, right?
Yeah.
I think there are some that they don't show you everything, right? For legal reasons and also for time and,
I mean, you
don't want to be bored, right?
Yeah.
Of course, not knowing your audience, that's what I want. I want to see how they do it, right?
Show me the 6 hour long version of them actually doing it in real time. No, and I completely agree because, that is some of my favorite parts, like, especially like in, this movie isn't necessarily a heist movie. It's an espionage movie, Mission Impossible. Mm-hmm. The opening, somewhat of a heist when they're at the party, where Emilio Estevez gets killed in the elevator.
Spoilers for
spoilers. Emilio Estevez dies? He's not even credited in that movie. But like them, like methodically, like mainly Emilio Estevez is part of him crawling through the vents and like having to make sure he's here and he's got the, I love that too.
Yeah.
The precision of it, especially.
Right. It's procedural. That's why Law and Order has been on the air for 100 years. You know what I mean?
And it has so many spinoffs.
It's procedural.
Yeah.
Right. We like to see how it's done. And that's what all the fun is in this, right? Even in the preparation stage, right?
Yeah, which is one of my favorite. I mean, the heist is definitely
it's the highlight.
It's the highlight, but the preparation I loved, just because I did laugh when they're trying to figure out like, well, what kind of noise would set it off.
Right.
And, Joe hits the hammer and they're like,
Yeah.
It kind of made me think of the SpongeBob building his bubble kiosk. That's the only word I can think of. And he's like, I'm seeing if Squidward comes in the window and he's like, yeah, that's I was like, that's so funny. But like, I also love like he's like, okay, like I can go a little harder.
Right. And I can get a little closer because they also bring it down, the sensor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every time. Yeah, because Tony's like, we'll go a little harder.
Go harder, we'll go lower. We'll see how close you can be and how hard you can hit it, right? But then, of course, covering it with a sock, genius, right? Yeah. The drill, covering it with the towel.
Oh, dude, I was like, oh my, they're fucked. Because like, when they start, it's loud.
It's so loud.
I was like, oh, they're fucked. And then they wrap it, and then they're like, and then Mario's squirting. I'm assuming oil to keep the
It's to keep it lubricated so it doesn't smoke or whatever.
I was like, oh, thank God.
And that is the part that takes the longest, is getting the safe open, right? Which is something we don't watch them practice. Really, the main focus is the alarm.
Well, and also they were to assume that Caesar knows what he's doing, because they said that he's the expert.
Yeah.
So we're to assume this is what he does.
As to see his tools, right? And again, it's sort of like what I love about The Bourne Identity. Have you seen The Bourne Identity?
Of course I've seen The Bourne Identity.
So,
do I remember the other two movies? No. I do remember The Bourne Identity, though.
So he's in the hotel and...
because he kills Clive Owen.
He thinks so fast. So he immediately takes a walkie-talkie, puts it in his ear so he knows where everybody is. He immediately takes a map off the wall for the fire exits. Mm-hmm. So what they're saying, he knows where they are in reference to the words they're using, right? I mean, it's that quick, right? And with Caesar, he is immediately going, bum, 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 okay? Bum, 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 drill, drill, drill. There's no hesitation.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I will say when he's using like the can cutter to cut that hole, I was like, I thought you guys were supposed to be quiet, because that's loud. Still loud, but that's the only tool that they have to cut that hole.
And even just like hitting the.
Oh, I was like, oh my God. Like, oh yeah, I was on edge. I was like, Jesus Christ, they're fucked.
Yeah.
But it's still so cool, man. And and unlike, like I'm going to use Ocean's 13 for example, where they have contingency plans with contingency plans, so they've got plans on plans on plans.
Yeah.
This isn't like that, but I still like that they're like, okay, we have to hit A, B, and C, so we can get X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And it's genius.
I know, even having the wire cutters for those metal rods that they know will be in the floor.
Yeah, in the I'm assuming concrete.
And the ceiling, right? Yeah. The concrete. Even just the forethought of, there's going to be.
Well, metal. And I'm not going to lie. I was like, wait, I thought you guys said you weren't going to cut it. And then I was like, oh, that's not the alarm. Okay. Yeah. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah. We're barely starting and you're already fucking it up. But I was like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Like after I calmed down, I was like, wow, I wonder who was like, oh yeah, hey, there's going to be, we got to make sure we've got these.
I know, it's amazing, right? Again, it's about all of that preparation and being fully prepared.
Yeah.
Right?
And I would say the longest part of their heist is digging that hole.
You think so?
Through the ceiling. Because, when we first see it, it's only about the size of, they could probably just get an arm through.
Yeah.
And then smash cut to later, it's big enough to fit a whole body through.
Yeah.
So I think that's what took the longest.
You think so?
Because I bet the safe itself probably took an hour or two.
Oh, it took a few hours. They showed the clock.
Yeah. But I think that was
By the way, the use of clocks.
Yeah, man.
Love it.
Yeah, dude.
Because we need to know they're running out of time. Yeah. Right?
It's taking too long.
It's genius.
Yeah.
And of course, they were like, before in the preparation stage where they're walking by the shops and saying what time do these things open, right, and what time do they close. There was a piece of dialogue that says, we need to be out of there by 5, and if you remember that and you keep that in your memory bank, when it's 6 o'clock, you're like, holy shit, get out of there.
Yeah.
You know? So it's still, you're so on edge, you know. I knew they were going to get away with it. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times.
Of course you did.
But I was still like, holy shit, they got to hurry up.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and you know, and the part that had me on the edge the most, because I actually missed that piece.
Okay, yeah.
So I was like, God, but I was like, while I was watching, I was like, you guys, you got to hurry. Like, why aren't you done yet?
Yeah.
The part that stressed me out the most is when those 2 cops are looking at the getaway car.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they're like, wait, whose car is this? Like,
Right. And then they had a
here?
list of cars, and I think they were like stolen vehicles or something, because I don't think that was Tony's car. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because he does just kind of pull up in it randomly.
Yeah. And they had that list of license plate numbers. And that's why they were looking at it so intently. Yeah. And I love that, you know, Tony's such a pro, man, because he saw their bikes
and he's like, oh, no, just keep walking.
Keep on walking.
And then he takes out one when the other one's got his back turned.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, let's go. I'm not going to lie. I did half expect when the camera follows those cops right before Tony knocks one of them out. I did half expect when the other one that he knocks out starts to walk back towards the car was going to be gone.
Yeah.
I was like, how fucking rad would that be?
That would have been really
Tony's
cool.
just like, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was like, oh, but wait, it's 1955. They probably would have heard a car starting and the door
Of
shutting.
course.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was the part I was the most stressed out.
Yeah.
I was like, they're fucked, bro. They're fucked. The whole time I was just like, oh, they're fucked. They're fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was not expecting the aftermath. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
They got away with it. Hell yeah. Now they can just sit back and chill.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie.
There's an hour left. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh my God, I still have 50 minutes left.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, and in that 45, 50 minutes, just all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, it's that decision. So, and of course, the inception of the decision that Caesar makes is when he makes that fake phone call to case the joint, right? When he goes to buy that lighter. He sees the guy look at the ring at that table, right? At that desk or whatever. And so he knew exactly where it was, and he knew that's what he wanted, right?
I did like, I guess, his little calling card when he took it out of the package and he crumbles it up and puts it back in the safe.
Yeah.
It's like, that was a good fuck you, Caesar.
That's
good.
yeah.
Like, yeah, there you go.
Not bad, you know?
Yeah. Even though you just screwed everything up.
Yep.
But, yeah, man. Oh, dude, I was not expecting it to go like that way, dude.
No, of course not.
Because it just goes from 0 to 10 like that.
Yeah.
And it's the fucking ring.
Yeah. Did you see The Killing, by the way?
No, it's on my
Kubrick? Okay.
It's on my wish list.
Oh, it's so good. That's another phenomenal heist film. You gotta see it.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about it in the heist episode.
We did.
And I want to say you said that it was before Kubrick became Kubrick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before people knew him for Doctor Strangelove.
Kubrick wasn't quite Kubrick yet, but it's still just, I mean, it's a perfect heist movie. God, I love it so much.
Yeah.
And it's in English, so there you go. You don't have to work so hard.
But yeah, man, I was not expecting it to escalate so quickly.
Yeah.
Especially when Mario dies. I was like, no.
Yeah.
It's like, Mario, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. Yeah. So Pierre is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because I love how before he finds out about the ring, he's already like, you know what? Like, so he tells Remy, his heroin addicted brother, you know, I want you to go kill Tony. What do they keep calling him?
Oh, I know. It's a word. I was trying to clock it.
They say it, and I was trying to hear the pronunciation, but they say
it's just like Pickpocket. I was trying to hear the pronunciation for that woman's name, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
it was too hard.
Well, so he tells his brother, like, I want you to go kill Tony, and I'm like, oh shit, like
he didn't even know shit yet.
I know,
but he was just like, kill Tony.
I didn't read shit.
But it's because he beat Mardo.
Yeah.
Right? And which wrong. Right.
Yeah.
We've established that. It's Mardo is complicated.
Yeah.
Because she also helps him out, right?
Yeah, at the end. Yeah,
at the end,
she helps Tony track down the kid, and
it's sort of like Tony's bad, Pierre's worse. right?
Yeah. Who would she rather help? The worst guy or the bad guy?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And she chose the bad guy, which that's okay.
But he's our protagonist. So
He's our protagonist, so she has to help him. But yeah, dude. And then poor Caesar. Not poor Caesar, but poor Caesar, you know. Like poor Caesar that he broke first, but he should have known, especially when Tony tells him, like, you know the rules.
Right.
You don't rat.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He ratted, and it got Mario and his wife, Ida, killed.
Yeah.
Dude.
I know.
I'm assuming it was implied that they slit his throat.
Slit his throat, yeah, with the straight razor.
Jesus Christ. Sweeney Todd at his ass.
Yeah, they did.
Except they didn't cook him into a meat pie.
Oh my god. Yeah.
No, dude, I was like, holy shit, they just fucking killed Mario.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they didn't shoot Ida. I don't know. I didn't see what they did to Ida, but you know, we just see her body slump over.
Yeah.
But man, I was like, shit just got real.
Yeah.
Shit just got really real. Because then, almost like a horror movie, each remaining member is almost picked off one by one.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, since I missed that part, because I remember hearing the gunshots, but I guess I missed that it was implied that Tony killed.
Tony killed Caesar. Yeah.
Which sucks. But then, like I said, poor Caesar, but not poor Caesar. He knew the rules.
That's right.
But at the same time, you know, he's the gullible. Well, not the gullible. He's the Italian guy who drops the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Dude, I was more on edge during the final sequence of the film than I was during the heist. Mm-hmm. I was like, Jesus Christ, is this ever going to end? Is it ever going to stop?
I know, right?
And no, it's not. Not until kid Tony is home safe with his mom.
Right.
And, dude, I was like, please end now.
I know.
I can't. My heart can't take. My heart can't take much more of this.
Yeah.
But man, very violent for a 1955.
It is violent. Yeah.
Especially when Tony kills Pierre. Pierre is clearly already dead.
Yeah.
And Tony's like, no, I'm not letting this one go. I'm going to pump a few more bullets into you. Double tapped his ass.
That's right.
Yeah. Even though Pierre was clearly already dead in the hole.
Clearly.
Yeah. So Jeremy, what do you want to talk about now?
Well,
because we've covered pretty much the whole heist and the aftermath.
So what I liked was in this article from Slant magazine. That? Slant magazine. I don't know. It's just it's a magazine. It doesn't matter. I like what he says here. It says Dessen. Is that how you say it? Dessen?
Sure.
Whatever. Takes a sobering view of the honored skill, uncommon knowledge, and procedure of high stakes crooks, right?
Okay.
Which again, it's sort of playing on again the procedure aspect of it, which is you know what I mean. But yeah. I liked how it talks about the honed skill and uncommon knowledge, meaning these guys who know stuff most people don't are not only do they know about it, they're very good at it.
Yeah.
Right. Much like, you know, Caesar with the safe cracking.
Yeah, like right? Tony with using the fire extinguisher to clog up the alarm.
Yeah. This isn't like the first of its kind, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but I like that this one leans more into these guys are really good at what they do, and that's why they're a part of the crew.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and see, and I mean, I'm sure we went into it. We keep referencing it. The heist episode we did back in season 1. If you want to hear that, find season 1 or you know wherever you listen to us. Not on YouTube because that was before we started doing video. But I feel like we talked about how like most heist crews, they rarely ever have amateurs. You know?
No, yeah. Never. Why would you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ocean's the first remake, Ocean's 11, has a minor exception with Matt Damon, but even then, he's not necessarily an amateur.
He's still a pickpocket.
Yeah. He's still a pickpocket, and as we were learning in Ocean's 13, his dad is who got him into this life, See, I remember Ocean's 11 and 13, but I just do not remember 12.
That's weird.
At all.
That's weird that you
Well, it's because it was Julia Roberts playing Julia Roberts.
That's so dumb.
It's the only thing I remember from that
I think
film.
we talked about this in the heist
Yeah.
episode.
Anyway. So of course all these guys have to be good.
Yeah.
But because it would be like pickpocket, watching an amateur learn the skill
Right.
to pull this job off.
Right.
Which is what we talked about with pickpocket, that he doesn't know how to do this, and then he learns and gets better.
Right.
So, but for a heist, these guys already have to know, this is how we do this. This is how we do that.
I think it seems as if it's so obvious now, but I think this was pretty revolutionary with having these tropes and setting these parameters, like these blueprints for what a heist movie looks like.
Yeah.
Right. I think without Rififi, we don't have any of this other stuff.
Yeah, I was feeling like I was seeing some tropes, of having like, the master safe cracker, make sure, we have it stashed here, lay low until, we have an opportunity to fence all this stuff, I was like, these things feel familiar, but I agree, considering that this movie predates a lot of these other movies that we've been bringing up, like the Ocean's trilogy, even the original Ocean's 11. Yeah. I agree. Without this movie, we probably wouldn't have gotten those.
No. And of course, I didn't do the research on it, but I also think that this movie didn't invent the one more and I'm out, which again is another
it's another
huge trope, and not just heist movies, but of course in all of crime films.
It's Lethal Weapon. Danny Glover, he's getting too old for that stuff.
That's right.
And then he goes out.
Why did you censor yourself? We don't have to do that on here.
I'm sorry. It's fucking
That's so
I've been
funny.
rewatching How I Met Your Mother.
Oh.
And I'm getting too old for this stuff. He said stuff. Yeah, he's getting too old for this shit.
There you go.
But then he'd go out and do more shit.
Yeah.
With Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
And this is before he started calling people sugar tits. So.
Completely off the rails.
But anyway, no, but I agree that trope of one more and I'm out. Yeah, there's probably a heist movie before Rififi, but it definitely Rififi heightened it because Tony for sure is, we're gonna do this job.
Yeah,
we're gonna make some money, and then I'm done.
And I'm dunzo.
Dunzo spagunzo. Because I don't want to. I agree with what you said. I don't want to have to do this again.
Right.
He wants to make enough money to where he can just coast.
Yeah.
And he can get out of that shitty apartment and just live a normal life. I agree. I'm sure there's a heist film before this where they do that, but yeah, Rififi definitely honed in on it.
Yeah.
Correctly.
I agree.
Cool.
Awesome.
Very long-winded explanation.
Yeah, it was, but
to
that's
pretty
okay.
much to say that I agree with you.
It's okay. That's so funny.
Every time I tell people about our podcast, they're like, "Oh yeah, is it smart?" And I'm like,
"Is it smart? Is that what people say?"
No, I'm asked that without being asked that.
Is it smart or is it like me?
Is it what, like Haley Joel Osment?
Fuck. Yeah.
Shout out to Forrest Gump.
No. So, Rain.
Yes.
Are you ready to wrap up?
I am ready to wrap up. Yeah, man. I'm sure.
What's the thing I forgot? Oops, I forgot.
Sure. It's been a while since we've done Oops, I forgot.
Is the way it looks, the cinematography.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's very stylized. It's very film noirish, right?
Well, and I did read that it is considered one of the best French noir films.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh yeah. I mean, Bob Le Flambeur. I did not say that correctly, but Bob Le Flambeur. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Bob the Gambler is also very, very good, and it's considered one of the best French crime films, right? Nice. Of the same time.
Okay.
That one's very good, so you got to check that out. Pierre Melville, that's probably not how you pronounce his last name. It doesn't matter. He's great. Also, this is very Pierre Melvillean, this film.
Yeah.
He had also done Le Samurai, another French crime film that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked the cinematography. I liked the black and white, the style of black and white.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of black and white films this season, and we still have a few more left to go.
We have quite a few more.
But yeah, something about this one was...
This was cool. I liked the way this one looked.
I really liked how it looked and then how it felt.
I can't freaking wait till we do High and Low. Yeah. Oh, so excited about that. Won't be next week. Sorry, guys.
No, because next week's your turn.
Yeah, it's my turn.
But yeah, no, so back to the wrap-up. Yeah, right. I really liked it. Heist films are great. Shout out to Nathan Lane, who, as I mentioned last week in the teaser, picked this out because he was like, my husband loves heist films. And yeah, man. Like, of course he picked a great one.
Shout out to Cinefix, which is why I know about this movie in the first place. They did a top 10 or top 20 heist films of all time, and this was on there.
And I also love, and I'm sure Future Rain can throw a picture of it, I love the Criterion cover art for it. It looks great. Which now that I've seen the film, the reference makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, when I bought it, I was like, oh, I mean, that's cool.
That's cool.
That's cool, but I don't get it. Now that I've seen it, I get it.
Obviously.
Yeah.
It's half the fun of these covers,
I know, dude. Dude, again, as we're talking about off mic, I can't wait for The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Yeah.
Did you see the cover
I did.
They've made? Oh, it looks so good. Can't wait for that. Shout out to Terry Gilliam.
Yeah. Shout out to Criterion.
Please sponsor us.
Please sponsor
Jesus
us.
Christ. I need to get a lot of these movies before you guys stop making them.
Yeah, please.
Like,
before they come out of print.
Like I really want one of the Terrence Malick films that they have. Days of Heaven, I think. I don't think that's right. But it's out of print.
Days of Heaven's out of print?
Or at least The Man That Fell to Earth, which I was telling you about.
Definitely out of print.
I want that one, but it's out of freaking print.
Yeah. Last Year Marrying Bad, out of print. Third Man, out of print.
Is it just because they lose the rights?
Chungking Express, out of print.
Or they just decide, it's time to put this in the vault.
No clue. Couldn't tell you.
Stop doing that. Or at least let us get what we want, and then you can go back to doing that.
Quit it.
All right. Well.
All right.
Well, buddy, so what are we talking about next week?
That's a good question. So,
am I going to be scared?
I don't know. So, I'm thinking off the top of my head, because I know what I have left. It's not a lot.
Now
I know.
I was telling Ashley how we've decided that we will not do another season this long ever again.
Probably not.
Because
though, what's the difference?
If I did my math correctly, this season will not end until almost next year.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And there will be times where we have to take breaks, so it might be next year because we have the bachelor
Jeremy's
party.
Getting married this year.
Getting married, so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I've decided we're going to take a break from black and white.
Okay.
And we're going to take a break from foreign.
Oh, thank God.
Which, only leaves me one option.
Oh, no. Hang on. Let me see if I can figure it out. Oh, Jesus.
Guys, next week, we are going to be discussing Harmony Korine's Kids.
Fuck.
Next week.
No. And I literally said to myself, after I mentioned off mic about how we did The Devil's Rejects with Alex, I was like, weren't we going to do Kids with Alex? And I was like, oh, shit.
We are. And it's going to be next week. So we're going to talk about Kids.
Oh, fuck
now,
me.
again, Harmony Korine wrote Kids. He didn't direct Kids. That was,
oh my God.
Forgot the guy's name. But
so I am scared. Because I've heard so many things about this movie.
I think that, here's my theory.
Okay.
Is it's not going to be as bad as we think. I think it's going to be pretty tame. If I'm being honest with you.
I agree. I mean, a lot of movies I feel like we've talked about. I think the worst scene in a movie that probably had its dues was, of course, the rape scene in Irreversible.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But, a lot of films that get a lot of this hype of, this is an awful movie, or this scene was just terrible to watch.
Too graphic, too vulgar, right?
Yeah,
I think what earned their stripes would be Irreversible, you're correct, and Come and See. I think those.
Shit. I can't believe I forgot Come and See.
Those earn their stripes with that sort of those descriptions. Kids, I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Well, neither have I.
We will
Has
find
Alex
out.
seen it?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I was so jealous when he got the DVD because I was like,
The
where did you
DVD.
find that? You know, because they're
Non-existent?
Yeah.
Yeah. We should have a watch party together.
And I found mine, and I have one. So
We should have a watch party together and all watch it and
take
be
notes.
disgusted.
I
Yeah.
have to take notes. Very excited to see Chloe Sevigny.
The only thing about this movie that I know is just a simple title from a band I like called Amir.
Mm-hmm.
They titled a song of theirs after the movie.
Uh-huh.
And if Future Rain, if I get this wrong, please put it up correctly. But the title of the song is called "I Thought You Were Casper, But You Turned Me Into Telly,"
Okay.
which are two characters
From Kids.
From Kids.
Yeah. There's a Mac Miller album also that's inspired by Kids as well. If you guys like that sort of thing. I'm not a Mac Miller fan necessarily, maybe rest in peace, but yeah. I've seen the album cover and
Yeah.
So.
I can't remember the album. I was gonna say that Swimming Pools is pretty good. His last official album.
I don't like Mac Miller, so that's fine.
It's because he was associated with Ariana Grande, right?
No, in fact, we'll end in just a minute. In fact, no, because that song was catchy as shit.
Which one?
Is it "I Love the Way"? Is that the
I
one?
fucking know.
Why did you ask that?
Wait, Mac Miller's song?
No, it's Ariana Grande song that he's in.
I don't know. I don't
Mac
like
Miller
Ariana
is
Grande.
in. That song was pretty catchy, bro. And I was like, that's what's up. But you know what I mean? I was like, why is Mac Miller? I didn't know his name at the time. I was like, why is that guy being so flirtatious with this seemingly child?
Because they were engaged or some shit.
So weird. Because she looked like she was 12. And he's
he
like 38. And I'm like, I don't think so, bro.
Yeah.
But I think they're around the same age. I don't know. Listen, I don't know anything about them. I saw the music video. I was like, that song's pretty rad. You know what I mean? It was
That's
catchy
weird,
as shit.
but that's weird.
That's weird. Song's catchy, though. And then that was about the extent of it.
Yeah. So Kids.
Kids, yeah. So Kids next week. And then I may take one of mine off
Okay.
and add one on there.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe Arsenic and Old Lace because it just got that Criterion release. Cary Grant. It's a comedy. Also,
Is it the one with the purple
Yeah.
cover? Yeah, I've been seeing that like fucking everywhere.
yeah. So
Okay, we'll hang on.
Peter Lorre's in it. Anyway, I don't know.
Peter Lorre.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, we should probably close the episode out.
Fuck.
I mean, this is good for Future Rain when he edits. So I say Future Rain because I'm about to be Future Rain.
You are better.
Because when I edit the video, if we don't give enough room after the tease, it seems like the outro and the tease just fall right next to each other.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so guys, we hope you enjoyed Rififi. I feel like we talked more about the heist, but that's okay. That's
fine.
That's a portion of the movie.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week with a special guest for Kids.